Well, in this devotional study today, Paul will complete in Galatians chapter 4 his argument about the contrast between the life in the Spirit by faith and the life in the law by the flesh. And he will use an allegory, but he is not being allegorical. An allegory is an extended metaphor. It is a comparison between things or events. Allegory is when you just make up meaning for words and you make up ideas. We should never approach the Bible allegorically, but unfortunately, that is what way too many preachers and teachers of the Bible do. It is teaching or preaching not from the historical cultural context of the original author to the original recipients. It's based not on hermeneutics, but on imagination. And on my website, I have plenty of videos and playlists to teach you how to think your way through the Bible properly. But Paul is going to make a contrast between Mount Sinai and the chosen wife of Abraham, Sarah, and then Hagar, who will represent the law. He says this in verse 21, "Tell me, those of you who want to be under the law, do you not listen to the law, or do you not obey the law? Let me explain. It is written that Abraham had two sons, one by the bondwoman, Hagar, and one by the free woman, Sarah, Sarai." Verse 23. "But indeed, the son by the bondwoman was born according to the standard of the flesh. That was not the son of promise. And when you look at Ishmael and you see how Abraham is arguing for Ishmael in Genesis to be the heir, remember that Abraham is almost 100 years old. Abraham has been married for 75 plus years, probably. This is the only son he's ever had. His son is at the age of inheritance. And God sends an angelic messenger to intercede and to say, Abram, you cannot bestow the inheritance on this son of yours. I'm going to provide you another son through Sarah. Abram argues for Ishmael, and God says, no, you've got to trust me. Hagar was not God's divine plan, but she was culturally part of an acceptable practice. So he says, indeed, the son by the bondwoman was born according to the standard of the flesh, and the son of the free woman was born according to the standard of the promise. Isaac was the promised son. Verse 24, what I state as an allegory, not allegorical, because these women represent two covenants. One by Mount Sinai, or from Mount Sinai, the law, bearing children who are to be slaves. She is Hagar. Now, this Hagar represents Mount Sinai in Arabia and corresponds to the present Jerusalem, that is the center of the law, for she is in slavery with her children. But the Jerusalem above, the one that will be coming down, is free. She is our mother, for it is written, rejoice, barren woman who does not bear, break forth and shout, you who are not in birth labor, because more numerous are the children of the desolate, that was Sarah, than the one who has a husband. Now, you, brethren, extending the allegory from Isaac, are children that come from the promise. But just as it was at that time, he who was born according to the flesh, Ishmael, persecuted him who was born according to the Spirit, Isaac, just like it is now also. Ishmael, Hagar, persecuted Sarah and Isaac. And that's why they were cast out. And he says, even to this day, that persecution goes on. And we can say, even to this day, that is what is true. Islam wants to see its way back to Abraham and claim it through Ishmael. Verse 30, but what does the scripture say? Expel the slave woman and her son, because the son of the slave woman shall not be an inheritor with the son of the free woman. Abraham argued, let Ishmael be my heir. God said, no. I know it's going to be hard to believe, but you and Sarah are going to have a child. And Sarah laughed. She laughed because she said, am I going to have a child? Am I going to have sexual pleasure again? And it was through that Isaac was born, the child of promise, the child of the altar. Verse 31, therefore, for this reason, brethren, we are not children of a slave woman, Hagar, but the free woman, Sarah. Jew or Gentile, trusters in Jesus Christ, in his death, burial, and resurrection, have been redeemed by grace through that death, burial, and resurrection. And we live by faith from the beginning of our spiritual birth till the redemption of being face to face with Jesus Christ.